The torture continues, my dear nerds. Join me again on my hell gondola. Let's sit by the fire as I slowly roast in this heat wave in which I'm in right now. But heat wave or not, this will not prevent me from making this video. This video is more important than basically anything we can imagine. It's more important than petting puppies. This video is about what's possibly the most controversial device that we have in the retro handheld space right now. And I'm of course talking about this beauty right here, the Miyoo A30. And I just want to mention this before I begin. This unit was sent to me by the nice guys at Geekgoo. I have a soft spot for Geekgoo because Geekgoo was the first company that sent me a review device ever when I started this channel and when this channel was way smaller. Not that it's big now, it's still small as heck. So if you want a Miyoo A30, I'm gonna leave a link in the description where you can get your own Miyoo A30 from Geekgoo themselves. But nobody paid me for this. This is an independent review. They're not seeing this video beforehand. They do not have any input in this video. My thoughts are my own. This video is not sponsored in any way. Not that anyone would want to give me money for these videos. I think I'm worthy of a few bribes, but nobody tried to bribe me yet. But I truly think that Geekgoo, they are nice guys. They are a small store, don't expect them to be a big store, but hey, they send you a handheld, you send them money, it's the oldest trade in the universe. Check them out in the description if you want to. In the meantime, let's continue with this video. The Miyoo A30 is a no middle ground kind of device. I've only seen people that either hate this thing to bits or swear by it as an actually good handheld. So I've decided to actually give myself way more days in order to review this thing. I think I had it for around 2 weeks or so, and I'm so glad that I took that time because I got a way more in-depth view on this than what I would have had if I released this video earlier. You see, my dear nerds, we need to talk about perspective because I am truly convinced that perspective is the problem with this device. This device will either be the best thing ever or the poopiest thing ever, depending on your perspective of it. The fire went out. And my perspective is, I'll give you spoilers in case you want to quit this video early on, it's a good device if you view it as the device that should have been released 6 months after the Miyoo Mini Plus. If Miyoo wouldn't have sat on their backsides and they would have released this device when they actually designed it, then it would have been like a shock to the retro handheld industry. It would have performed so flipping well. It would have performed so well that I'm convinced Anbernic wouldn't have had the stranglehold that it has now on the entire retro handheld space. But alas, there are a few very bad points that you get as a company if you shelve a device for this long. And that is that it gets left behind. For example, the SoC on this isn't really that good. I actually want to organize this video a bit so that we don't live in anarchy. We must have a bit of organization, you know? We can't just be all over the place. We are not those kinds of nerds, my dear, meatbags. I don't know why I keep calling you guys meatbags, but you are meatbags, technically. You are fleshy sacks of, meat and bone, and you're all squishy and beautiful, and I would hug you right now. I really would hug you. But since I can't, I might as well, invade your brain with information about this little guy. I'll start by talking about the things that I love about this, and in the second part of the video, I'll talk about the things that I really dislike about this. But honestly, there's a lot to love here. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. In terms of hand feel and in terms of actual pleasure when using it, this is the best, not maybe the best, but the best 2.8-inch handheld out there. This feels immensely better in the hand than anything that I held. It feels way better than the Anbernic RG28XX. It feels way better than the original Miyoo Mini. It feels almost as good as holding my cat's paw in my hand. It just feels natural. And no. This is not by coincidence. This is what we all need to understand. this is by design, because Miyoo made sure that the buttons are actually big and spacey, and if I dare, say it, actually, well, in this proper context, luxurious, because for the size of this flipping device, the buttons are full size. If we look at other handhelds, cough, Anbernic RG28XX, then we realize just how quickly we would take this for granted. You see, when you hold this device, I hope this gets conveyed on camera, you don't feel the need to squish your hand. You do not adopt that crab-like pose which kills your ankles. You just feel comfortable with it. You have a natural position and a natural posture in which you hold your hands, and you just get to enjoy whatever you're playing. And this translates so well in real life. Whenever I would play the RG28XX, I would actually feel like that's a small device. For some reason, I would feel like I would have to squint at it, because you would feel like a giant with those little tiny ABXY buttons. But here, somehow my brain doesn't perceive it as such a small device as it is. And I'm not just talking about the front buttons here. Miyoo did some design choices that I simply adore. There's no other word. I adore this. They made the thumbstick, which is controversial, I know. A lot of you fine nerds, you hate thumbsticks on this. But they made it flush with the rest of the buttons. Even though we have a thumbstick, there's no possibility in hell that this gets caught in your pocket lining. You don't get any pocket snags. It feels as if you just have a flipping D-pad and, normal buttons on this thing. In fact, I would go out to say that the Miyoo A30 is the one handheld with a thumbstick that actually feels natural and very nice in the pocket. And I can't say the same thing for anything else. Hell, I can say the same thing about my beloved RG35XXH. And if you follow my channel for a while, you know I'm simping over that handheld. I made a million videos on it. It's my favorite. And I wouldn't, put it down like this in favor of this flipping thing if I didn't feel like this is the truth. I feel like the Miyoo guys, to their detriment, I think they obsessed with the design of this thing. If I analyze it thoroughly, I can see this. For example, the shoulder buttons are a flipping luxury for this size of device. They are silent. Listen to this. I think you might hear something, but it isn't monstrously clicky like what Anbernic has for their rival to this. And they just seem low-key and subtle and way bigger than what I would expect them to shove in such a tiny handheld. It's impossible for you to miss them. It's that simple. Your hand naturally feels where each trigger/shoulder button is. And this is beautiful, but I don't want to compare it to the RG28XX too much, because I plan on making a comparison video to that one a bit later down the line. However, I will say this, when it comes to hand feel, there's no contest here. The Miyoo Mini is better in every way. It's light, and I saw some reviewers commenting, oh, it feels too light. And my question to them is, what do you want, a flipping brick? Light is good. We have this stupid... Am I past 3 minutes? Can I say? Yeah, I can say stupid. We have this stupid idea that heavy things are of more quality. I think we took this from mobile phones, because Apple with their iPhone and Samsung with their S series noticed that people think something is of enhanced, of better quality if it's heavy in the hand. I call bull poopies. I call bull cookies on that. Bull cookies, I'm dying on the inside, but YouTube is YouTube. Bull cookies it is. I call bull cookies on that, because you have to understand, something being light is a virtue of its own. The Miyoo A30 is so flipping light that it's a pleasure to carry it. I don't feel it in my pocket. You feel as if it's hollow, but in a good way. When I say that it's hollow, I don't mean that it feels, like a piece of poop. I mean that it feels lighter than it should be. And I personally love this. If I am to carry this, I don't want to be reminded in my brain all the time, hey, you're carrying an extra piece of tech with you, and you should be punished for that because now you feel like your pants pockets are all cluttered. Who the flip wants that? Who conditioned us to think that we should feel more weight, otherwise the things that we carry are of low quality? This has always frustrated me, and I'm here to tell you that this being lightweight is a dang very good thing. And another thing that you nerds might like is that this comes out of the box with a carrying case. People seem to love carrying cases on these cheap $30 or $50 devices. Personally, I never understood that because these should be tortured. These you should, carry around with you. You should take them on the train. They shouldn't take up space. I never personally use them, but a carrying case is included with the handheld apparently. It sometimes seems like I'm kissing the backsides of these handhelds, and that's not the case because this handheld really has negatives as well. And some of them you might already know from other YouTubers, other things you might not know, but I will bring up everything that pissed me off about this device, because this device, this is a victim of the times. That's how I see it. If this mother flipper had a better SoC on it, this would have been an instant recommendation. It might still be a recommendation, but remember how I started this video by talking about perspective? It's a recommendation depending on your perspective. I truly think it was stupid of Miyoo to include a PPSSPP emulator here and the Dreamcast emulator. You might run very few games from each catalog decently on this, but the truth is that the SoC is simply old and not powerful enough. You get to get away with whatever you used to play on the Miyoo Mini Plus. That's how I want to view this. If you're content with playing anything from PS1 and below, if you're gonna use it exactly as you would use your Miyoo Mini Plus, then this is a good option. This is a good option to, play some arcade games. GBA, this shines at GBA. GBA has never felt more natural than on this. It actually feels better than on the than on the Anbernic RG35XX SP. Spruce would fix a lot of problems, so take the software side of my review with a grain of salt. It becomes more or less invalid if we install Spruce on this thing, which I fully encourage you to do. But for now, I have to talk about the out-of-the-box experience that you would get if you would buy this as is, and if you would plan to use it as is. I'm not gonna make a whole deal about Super Nintendo stuttering, because that's a shader problem. If you turn off that pre-enabled shader, then Super Nintendo is good as well. Basically, this is what you need to think. You shouldn't view this through the lens of what does Anbernic allow me to play on a device in the $50 range. No, you should see this as the next embodiment of the Miyoo Mini. It plays more or less the same things. I would never recommend you to play anything else more than this on this mother flipper right here. Let it do its job gracefully. There's no need to torture yourself and to torture your device, this device, with PSP or Dreamcast. Use it with the idea that this is just a Miyoo Mini in another hat. That's how I think you should view it if you want to love this device. And the other thing that I hate about this is somewhat related to the SoC as well, which is the battery life. Look, the SoC is a 40 nanometer SoC as far as I know, and one of the problems that this handheld has is that it really gets warm. And there's unfortunately no real fix to this, because this is a hardware problem. And when a device gets warm, it gets warm because it uses power more inefficiently, which drains the battery faster. I would say that this has a similar battery life to the Miyoo Mini and Miyoo Mini Plus. You would get around 3 to 5 hours. Maybe if you play very basic stuff, you might push a bit further than the 5-hour mark. But it doesn't come close to what Anbernic has, where you can milk 8 hours out of those things. But I would argue that you don't really need 8 hours. You need to understand that 5 hours by itself is already a very long period of time. You're most probably gonna play it in chunks. You're gonna have a small window of time here, a small window of time here. Your wife is gonna send you to shop for groceries and you're gonna take 10 minutes in the car and play it all by yourself there. You know, your significant other might fall asleep and you're gonna take a chunk of time there. Unfortunately, you're an adult. You have adult, painful responsibilities. You might have kids, you know, those needy little creatures that take the rest of your time. You get to have drops of free time here and there. In that situation, its battery would feel like it lasts a very long time. I honestly wouldn't put that much emphasis. It's not an ROG Ally, you don't get to kill it in an hour and a half. It's not... how should I put this? It's not super long, it's adequate. It's average, and average shouldn't be demonized. Average is acceptable. That's how I see it. This is acceptable from a battery point of view. It's not the best, not by far, but I wouldn't disqualify this on battery alone. Plus, with Spruce, you might get a bit more battery as well. So, what's my verdict, you might ask yourself, because I went back and forth, I praised it, I kinda poop-talked it. I think that Miyoo needs to have some shock therapy. That's what I think. This device, in my gut, in my retro reviewer gut, I feel like this is a 2022 device. If this would have been released, like I said, 6 months after the Miyoo Mini, this would have wiped the market clean. Everybody would have had one of these. All the big channels would have recommended this mother flipper. But because Miyoo sat on their backsides and let Amberneck basically conquer the market with their H700 SoC, which is more efficient and, quite frankly, it's less battery, by contrast, this doesn't seem as good. But imagine, I don't know, imagine this car right here. This car is a Dacia 1310. It was released in the 80s in Romania. This is a full-fledged communist Romanian car. People used to love this car. They would swear by it because they could fix everything on it. Everything was mechanical, everything was fixable, and people enjoyed it back then. But if you were to drive the same flipping car in 2024, in the same traffic jam where you would have a, I don't know, Cybertruck on your left, then it would look like something that's not really impressive. Maybe it would be impressive because it would look retro, but it couldn't compare to the newer models. Now, my argument with this is that some people might still prefer that. They might still prefer a car like that, as they might still prefer this little guy right now. Personally, for 2.8 inches, this is, well, my personal favorite device. It's not the coolest, it's not the longest lasting, but it's the most comfortable. And at the end of the day, I want to put a lot of importance on how I feel when I play the games. Would I have wished this had less of a tractor SoC? Of course, heck yeah. But at the same time, comparing this to an RG28XX and how that feels in the hand, this is in a totally different league. So yeah, I don't know what I missed here. In case I missed something with this review, let me know in the comments and I'll answer your questions. But I think I am frustrated with this. I am frustrated that this came so late to the party. If this had come earlier, that's what she said, it would have had a whole other destiny. And because I kind of like it, I hate that it has such a bad reputation. It's underrated, but the arguments are sound. That's kind of the conclusion. Nobody's lying when they say that the performance is worse and the battery, you know, is suckier. But at the same time, it's so nice. You know, this inner conflict, this will never go away. And right now it's selling for a pretty small price because everybody stayed away from it and there's stock available. And for that price, it's actually very good. But you know what's also good? You know what's also the best thing ever actually? If you would subscribe to this channel. I would love you forever if you did. Hear me out on this. Vlad Nerd is super small, okay? It's so flipping small that, well, basically it's passion what drives me. Nothing else, This channel is, I'm just putting things out there, it's a financial black hole. Like, I'm wasting money for this channel, and I don't feel sorry for this. I love what I'm doing here. Passion is literally the thing that drives Blood Nerd. Blood Nerd wouldn't exist without the passion inside my head telling me, hey, you idiot, push this forward, pay from your own pocket. But what I would love to see is if my passion project can grow bigger. So if you can, if you like what I do, if you like my silly rants, because you just watched probably what's gonna be a 20-something minute video, I'm 27 minutes in the raw recording here. If you love what I do, help me grow it. I would really, really love you forever. I also have a Discord, if you want to join that. I chat with everyone there. It's a nice, wholesome, retro-inclined community. And if you want to support me more directly, feel free to become either a channel member or a Patreon. Whichever of these options you choose, you will still end up on my wall of fame, where I show all of these beautiful people that decided to support me directly. Out of all the people on this flipping planet, these are the ones that said, you know what, Blood, you silly, silly human being, I have your back. And I will always cherish them and love them for this. These mother flippers are the best of the best. So if you want to be on this wall as well, it's fairly easy to do so. And you would be in my heart as well. But anyway, enough of me trying to have you subscribe. So yeah, my nerds, I am a full-fledged hypocrite. I hate when other YouTube channels basically grovel for, subscriptions and pesters the viewers for this. But unfortunately, this is the name of the game. It's a necessary evil. What can I say? Hypocrisy runs deep in these veins. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section. I'll try to answer as many as I can. And just a quick reminder, there's also a Discord. I answer faster there if you want to join. But this is basically it. Have a nice day, my beautiful nerd. Enjoy yourself. Do not let whatever worries you have kill your vibe today. Try to be naturally happy. Like, play a handheld, pet the puppy, do whatever you need to do in order for you to be like, you know what, I don't hate my life today. Be better than me. So see you in the next video, okay?